What's up, guys? We're back with a full slate of college basketball action here on Friday, February 21st. We're going to break down most of the college basketball games on the slate. We're also going to look at a couple of the biggest NBA games out there. We're going to look at bets on the side and over-under, and make sure to check that pinned comment throughout the day to see if there are any changes as injury news and player availability is confirmed. In terms of a recap, guys, we're on 3 different plays. We don't know yet what the final score is going to be in that Denver-Charlotte game, so don't have a side on that one yet. Don't have a confirmed, win or loss. We got the over there in that Lakers game. That's still in the second quarter. We were unfortunately there on the Clippers, and they collapsed late in that game to eventually lose 110 to 116. So another Clippers collapse. They are very, very likely to go in the do not bet column, but we'll see. Hopefully we can finish this night out well. If you want to win all of your bets today, hopefully hit that like button. It's good luck. Show support for the channel, all the hard work we put in every single day. And if we get to 1,000 likes on this video, we'll be giving away another hoodie. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our daily content. Once we make it to 50,000 subscribers, we're over 48,000 now, so closing in pretty quick. We're going to give away another hoodie for that. And guys, it's finally time for the members hoodie giveaway. If you want to become a channel member, just click that little join button right below the video. It gives you early access to all of my videos, and it also, gives you a better chance when I do giveaways like this. So hopefully you're seeing the spinning wheel right now. We're going to spin it. Let's see who wins. We got around 62, 63, something like that members on the list. Closing in right now, we are looking at Robert Steendell. You are the winner of the hoodie giveaway. Get down there in the comments. Let me know. I'll see you there with your members badge on there, and I'll get back to you right away, and we'll be able to do our best to get this hoodie out to you as quickly as possible. All of our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. We have a team of experienced cappers over there for every major sport, currently covering NBA, college basketball, UFC, NHL, and we have MLB season right around the corner. We just sent out another free pick winner. We're on Maryland minus 11.5 or 12 or something like that. They ended up winning in a blowout though, so another free pick winner straight to your inbox if you were on that email list. Click the link in the description to go over to StumpTheSpread.com. You can sign up for that free email list. You can also check out all of our options in terms of premium pick packages. Like I said, if you're not interested in that right now, just get on the free email list. Also, very interestingly, guys, on that free email list a couple days ago, our PGA expert, our golf expert, sent out Chris Ventura at a 70-1 clip there to win whatever PGA tournament is going on this week. He's currently in first place. So if that one pays off, that would be a crazy, crazy awesome one to cash in. Comment below with any bets you're looking at today. We'll give you our best advice on all of them. We are committed to responding to every single comment every day. So just let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day, guys. We've got Bowling Green going on the road to take on Toledo. Bowling Green comes into this game, guys, 10-16 on the season, so not exactly having a great time. They're fresh off a tough 91-84 loss there against Kent State, so that was a little bit rough as well. They're only 9-4 in conference play out there in the MAC, so it hasn't exactly been an easy way to go there for the Bowling Green Falcons this season. They do have Marcus Johnson. He's a monster, 16.5 points per game. There's nothing wrong with that. They're a decent offensive team, but those defensive numbers are very, very questionable. The rebounding numbers are downright bad. So we're a little bit concerned here about Bowling Green heading into the end of the season. They've got some easy games, some tough games coming up. They did play Toledo earlier this season, a game they eventually lost 84-71. So we'll see what they're able to get done in this one. It's going to be a little bit rough. I didn't love what they did against Kent State, so this could be a bit of a tough spot here on the road against the Toledo Rockets, who come into this game 16-10 on the season. They are fresh off a win. They took down Ball State in a 1-point nail-biter, so a very, very close game. They needed that win, though, to snap a 2-game losing streak, losing at Miami of Ohio and at EMU. So they're back on track here with that win against Bowling Green. This team has done some good stuff this season. They're an offensive powerhouse of sorts, but the defensive numbers not so good. The rebounding numbers also nothing to write home about. They're not terrible necessarily, but I wouldn't exactly get super jazzed up about them at the moment. So we'll see what we get from the Toledo Rockets in this game, guys. I mean, the last time they took on Bowling Green, it was at Bowling Green, and Toledo, obviously, getting a 13-point win there has to feel pretty good. They shot the lights out in that game. They shot 50% from 3-point range. They also kind of dominated the boards. They Bowling Green shot the ball pretty poorly in that game as well, and that was at home. Now they've got to go on the road here. So yeah, that could be a little bit rough here. We'll see what they can do. See if they can take over this game and defend. Try and get something positive going here down the stretch. But I don't know, guys. It looks a little rough because Toledo, they're only 7.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 158.5. Bowling Green 4-6 against spread on the road, 13-13 to the over/under. Toledo 3-6 against spread at home, 13-12 to the under. Guys, this spot, I mean, I just can't really justify going any other direction here. I'm going to be taking Toledo -7.5 at home. You could talk me into Bowling Green, being in some sort of, a bounce back spot after that loss, and maybe they'll play a little bit better here, but it's not like they're amazing on the road. It's not like Toledo's great at home, but I definitely think you want to be on the Toledo side of this one for sure. Next up, guys, we've got one of the bigger matchups of the night. We've got number 16 Marquette going on the road to take on Villanova out there in the Big East. Marquette comes in this game 20-6 on the season, so a pretty good record. They have won 2 in a row, but beating DePaul and Seton Hall, not exactly something to write home about. They recently had a 3-game losing streak, losing against UConn, against St. John's, and against Creighton. Obviously, 3 very good teams there. Before that losing streak, they took care of business at home against Villanova, winning that game 87-74. So we'll see what they've got in the tank for this one. Obviously, this Marquette team has been very good this season. They're a little bit overly reliant on Cam Jones. I mean, 20 points per game, 6 rebounds per 6 assists per game, and shooting nearly 50% from the field. Like, that's very, very solid. Like, nothing wrong with that at all. But what kind of numbers is he going to be able to put up here against, a relatively tough Villanova team? The last time Marquette took on Villanova, we liked what we saw, obviously. I mean, they won that game comfortably, shot 30% from the three-point line. They shot, 27 free throws against, 19 there from Villanova. So, yeah, not exactly a dominant, performance on either side. Cam Jones put up 16 points, but we saw Stevie Mitchell put up 21. So, a good game for Marquette in that one, no doubt about it. We'll see if they've got another good one in store here as they go on the road this time to take on the Villanova Wildcats, who come into this game losers of 2 in a row. They just lost a tough 7-point game there at UConn. They also lost at Providence. Losing by 13 at Providence probably doesn't feel great. This team, I mean, they're very, very dependent on Eric Dixon. So 2 teams that really rely on star power a lot. I mean, Dixon putting up over 22 points per game. Dominant stuff, but shooting 45% from the field, okay. This team, terrible on the boards. Their defensive numbers are good. Their offensive numbers are fine. I wouldn't say they're elite, though. So, yeah, I've got my questions here about Villanova. I mean, the last time they faced Marquette, it was at Marquette. They lost 87-74, like I was saying. Villanova didn't play terrible in that game either, which is definitely something of a concern here. I mean, they shot 35% from three-point range, still lose handily. They couldn't, dominate on the boards or anything like that. So looking at the numbers here, Villanova getting 1.5 points at home. We've got a total of 142.5. Marquette 4-6 against the spread on the road, 14-10-2 to the under. Villanova 9-6 against the spread at home, 16-10-1 to the over. This is a bit of a tough spot, guys. I'm definitely initially leaning at least towards Marquette at -1.5. We see Villanova, no look-ahead spot for them. They've got Seton Hall on deck. Marquette, they have Providence on deck, so it's not a look-ahead spot for either team. I just don't think I can not take Marquette here. I don't think they're going to get a blowout win necessarily, but I think we see them win this one by around 5 to 7 points, and that's plenty in this spot. I mean, Villanova has been good at home, but do they really have what it takes to, take care of business against a team as good as Marquette? Seems unlikely to me. Next up, guys, we're headed a little bit off the beaten path here. We are in the MAAC. We've got Manhattan going on the road to take on Iona. The Manhattan Jaspers, 13-10 on the season, fresh off of a 3rd straight win, though. They just went on the road, took down Fairfield comfortably, an 80-67 win. Fairfield, obviously not a super tough team, but they're not a walk in the park necessarily, and Manhattan kind of made them look like they were a walk in the park, so got to give them credit where credit is due. They have played Iona earlier in the season. They got a dominant 76-55 win there over Iona, so the Jaspers, they look like they could honestly be a tough out there in the MAAC tournament. They're behind teams like, Merrimack, Marist, Quinnipiac, but they've done some good stuff. I mean, we like their offense in general, not too bad. The rebounding is respectable. The defense could use some work, don't get me wrong, guys, but we like what we're seeing right now. And yeah, I mean, when they faced Iona the last time, obviously a blowout win. Did they shoot the lights out in this game? Not really. Only 21% from three-point range. They shot only 13 free throws in the game. It was way more than Manhattan shot, but 13-6 isn't some crazy margin. They had an edge on the board, so we like what we're seeing from Manhattan. Iona, have they turned things around? I mean, not really, guys. They've lost 2 in a row, obviously losing against Rider and Quinnipiac. That Rider loss does not look good. Losing against Quinnipiac at this point is pretty much expected. This team does not play at the same pace as a lot of the other teams in this conference. I mean, 68.8 points per game, not looking amazing. The rebounding numbers aren't great either. The defensive numbers look pretty suspect, especially if you're going to play at such a slow pace. Like, You got to dominate on defense, and they couldn't really do that in general, and they definitely didn't do that the last time these two teams played. Obviously, they lost that game by 21 points. Yeah, we didn't like what we saw from Iona in that one at all. They shot 35% from the field, 24% from three. They got out rebounded. Like, it was a tough night out there. So they're going to be looking to turn things around here at home. They're actually 1.5-point favorites on their home court. We got a total of 146.5. Manhattan 9-3 against spread on the road, 14-7-1 to the over. Iona 5-6 against spread at home, 15-11 to the over. You could definitely take over 146.5 in this game. I don't hate that, but I also don't love it. Actually, I kind of take that back. I'm not going to be taking that because of the slow pace of Iona, but definitely give me Manhattan here, getting 2.5 points. I think they're the better team in this matchup. I'm not worried about anything right now here for Manhattan. I think this is a very, very good spot for them. This is definitely going in the pinned comment. Hey guys, jumping in here with a quick ad break. This is a great time to sign up for StumpTheSpread.com. Signing up for a premium membership gets you access to our top confidence plays on all the major sports. We're currently covering NCAA basketball, the NBA, NHL, UFC, and the NFL. We have a team of professional cappers that work extremely hard putting in the research on these games every day so you don't have to. We make things very easy for you with pick notifications directly to your phone and unit sizes assigned to each play so you can see where our confidence level is on every individual matchup. To test out the service before you buy, join our free email list, get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Just click the link in the description to sign up for a free account. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Now guys, back to the games. Rolling right along here, guys, we've got the Dayton Flyers going on the road to take on the Loyola Chicago Ramblers. This game's on ESPN2. Dayton comes into this game 18-8 on the season. Not exactly having the year they were projected to have, but they're finding their way here late in the season. A win over Fordham, a 1-point win over Duquesne. Yeah, you're probably supposed to be handling business against a team like Duquesne a little bit easier than that, but hey, they got the win. That's what really matters in the end, guys. This is a rematch against the Loyola of Chicago team they beat by only 2 points earlier in the season. That was a home game for Dayton. Now they got to go on the road. Dayton doesn't really rely too much on any one, superstar, but the season-long numbers for Dayton are just not what we would have expected, guys. They're not a good rebounding team. They're actually a bad rebounding team. The offensive numbers are fine. They're definitely not in the elite category. Their defensive numbers are good. I wouldn't put it in the ultra-elite category either, though. So, yeah, definitely some concerns here. I mean, you're playing 1-point games against teams like Duquesne. Like, that's not exactly a great look. Dayton shot only 23% from three in that game. Not like they're an amazing team that's going to shoot like a ton of threes either, but yeah, that's just, I don't know. That one leaves a bad taste in my mouth, guys. We'll see if they've got a bounce back in them. I mean, I guess you can still call it a bounce back even if they won the game, but still, they're going on the road to take on Loyola of Chicago. The Ramblers 17-9 on the season. They're currently in fourth or tied for third place there in this, in the A10. So, yeah, this is a very important game. The Ramblers are fresh off of a third straight win. They've taken down Richmond, SLU, and Davidson over their last few, and they won 5 out of the last 6. Their only loss was, ironically enough, at Duquesne. So we'll see what they've got in the tank here. They're a pretty decent defensive team. The rebound numbers aren't great, but they're not terrible, and they can score the ball. They've got some offensive firepower. They don't rely too much on any individual leading scorer. I mean, the last time they played again, in this specific matchup, taking on Dayton, like I said, it was at Dayton. They took a 2-point loss in that game, but we saw some things from the Ramblers that we liked. The problem is, I mean, yeah, it was an overtime loss, but they shot 40, almost 2% from the three-point line and still managed to lose the game. They did, get 2-1 in free throw margin, though. That's pretty wild stuff. We saw Dayton shoot 27 free throws. Loyola Chicago shot 14. We also saw basically even stuff on the board. So look at the numbers here, guys. Loyola Chicago is getting 2.5 points at home. We've got a total of 140.5. Dayton 3-3 against spread on the road, 17-8 to the over. That's weird to see Dayton being a team that trends towards the over, but Loyola Chicago 5-8 against the spread at home, but 12-1 to the over/under. Guys, I think this is a good spot to take Loyola Chicago at home. They're getting points here. I don't know if this is necessarily a wrong team favored situation, but Dayton needed a lot of things to align for them to get the win in the first matchup between these two, and they were playing that game at home. If we see, Loyola Chicago shoot double the free throws, I think they get a comfortable win at home in this one. Rolling right along here, guys, we are headed out to the Ivy League. We've got Cornell going on the road to take on Yale. Cornell comes into this game losers of 3 in a row, including a 103-88 loss against Yale. They just lost to Harvard, and the last time out, they got absolutely demolished by Dartmouth, losing 88-49 on the road in that one. So not a great look. I mean, Cornell, they put up tons of points, but they do not defend well, and they only put up 49 points against Dartmouth. So this is a monster bounce back spot for them, but this isn't really a team that has, a crazy amount of offensive firepower. They did score 88 points against Yale the last time these two teams met, but it was in a blowout. So yeah, Yale played really well against them in that game, and the Bulldogs come into this one 16-6 on the season. They're currently the number one team in the Ivy League by 3 games, so they are absolutely cruising. They dismantled Princeton in their last time, on the floor, and they've just got to be feeling very, very good about the rest of the season because they don't have any really tough games lined up. I mean, I guess Dartmouth there, coming up, but other than that, they should be cruising. This team, offensive juggernaut, averaging over 83 points per game. They're very good on the boards. They played a pretty good pace. That's, part of the deal, but they also allow under 70 points per game. Like, the Yale Bulldogs are a dominant team. They shot 47% from 3 and 62.5% from the field. That is crazy. The last time they took on Cornell. So that was at Cornell, guys. This one is going to be a home game for Yale. So that's pretty interesting stuff, guys. And looking at the numbers, Yale 9.5-point favorites. We got a total of 159.5. Cornell is 7-4 against the spread on the road. That's respectable. They're 12-7-2 to the over. Yale 6-2 against the spread at home. 12-8-1 to the over. I definitely think over 159.5 is super live in this game. If you're looking for an over-under play, I think this one is a very, very reasonable one. But better than that, guys, I like Yale to win and cover in this game. -9.5, I mean, it looks like kind of a big number, but in this matchup, I know Yale might be losing a little bit of motivation since they've basically got the regular season locked up here, but I think we see the Bulldogs get a convincing win and cover as they just continue to cruise towards the end of their regular season. Staying in the Ivy Leagues, guys, we're looking at the Harvard Crimson going on the road to take on the Princeton Tigers. Harvard only 9-13 on the season. They're not having a very good time, 4-5 in conference play. They have won back-to-back games. They took down Cornell in a big upset, an upset at least, and then they took down Columbia their last time out pretty comfortably. Now they got to go on the road, though, to take on Princeton, and this team is not really built to handle what Princeton likes to do. I mean, they're 341st in the nation in points per game. That's not a great look. They did keep things very close against Princeton the last time they played. They ended up losing by 4, but that was several weeks ago. So we'll see what they can do in this one. I'm not exactly going to be holding my breath for a great performance here from, the Harvard Crimson, not a team that's having a great season. Princeton themselves, they are, in third place in the Ivy League, so it's not like they're cruising. They've lost 2 in a row, losing at Brown and at Yale. That Yale loss probably stung, guys, not going to lie. Xavier Lee, a pretty solid score, but his number's been trending down, still averaging over 5 assists per game, though. That's not easy to do. This isn't a very good defensive team. Their offensive numbers are fine. They're rebounding a little bit suspect. The last time they took on Harvard, we saw Princeton, they had a decent rebounding edge. They didn't shoot the ball particularly well. That one was at Harvard, so maybe they'll be shooting the ball better on their home rims. Harvard actually shot the ball pretty well in that game, so we'll see what kind of things develop in this one. I mean, Princeton, sizable favorites, 8.5-point favorites here at home. We've got a total of 139.5. Harvard, 5-8 against the spread on the road, 12-10 to the under. Princeton, 3-7 against the spread at home, 14-9-1 to the under. This is another kind of tough spot, guys. I mean, Harvard coming off of that, back-to-back wins. So you could say they're playing well, but we also have Princeton coming off a couple losses. So you could say they're in a bounce-back spot. I'm leaning towards Princeton to get the win and cover at home in this one, but definitely not a play that's going in the pinned comment. Next up, guys, we have the Cleveland State Vikings. They're going on the road to take on the Detroit Mercy Titans. We're out there in the Horizon League, guys. Cleveland State's been doing their thing. They are currently in first place in the Horizon, but they're only 1 loss up on teams like Robert Morris and Youngstown State, so they have to play pretty well here down the stretch, and they are in a little bit of trouble coming off of a loss there against Youngstown State and a loss against Robert Morris. So they're going to have to do some pretty good stuff here at the end of the season, but right now things are looking bleak, and neither one of those games were really super crazy close. So they're going to need to chalk up these last couple wins. They did destroy Detroit Mercy the last time they faced each other, but this team's rebounding problems are sneaking up on them. They've played okay defensively, but the offense is just not there the last couple of games. So they'll be looking to take advantage of a team like Detroit Mercy. The last time they played each other, we saw Cleveland State get a massive, kind of come from behind win. They ended up, winning the second half there by 20 points. They shot the ball terribly from 3, terribly from the field. They ended up getting a lot more free throw attempts, though. Playing at home will definitely do that for you. So we'll see if they can, keep, with that trend and buck the current trend of them not playing very well, taking on the Detroit Mercy team that's not very good, guys. The Hospital only 8-20 on the season. They've lost 4 in a row. They just lost, against Robert Morris, Youngstown, Oakland, and IUN, guys. So not exactly having a great time. They don't have a great leading scorer. I mean, I guess Orlando, Lovejoy, 16, almost 17 points per game is respectable, but this is a bad offensive team. 376 in the nation on offense. They can crash the boards, but they can't play much defense, and yeah, at some point you got to figure something out because things are just not headed the right direction right now. I mean, this team is second to last in the Horizon, not exactly the strongest conference out there. So we'll see what they can get done at home. They're getting 8.5 points. We got a total of 135.5. Cleveland State 8-3 against the spread on the road, 16-9 to the under. Detroit Mercy 7-4 against the spread at home, 14-12-1 to the under themselves. Cleveland State has to be desperate at this point. I think we see that desperation translate into a blowout win here against a kind of mediocre team. They only have to win by 9. I think they can definitely do that against a team they blew out earlier in the season. Give me Cleveland State as a small lean in this one, but I am definitely not putting this in the pinned comment. Cleveland State has been really floundering lately. Next on the schedule, guys, we're looking at the Northern Kentucky Norse going on the road to take on the Wright State Raiders out there in the Horizon. Northern Kentucky 12-15 on the season. They're fresh off of a blowout loss at Milwaukee. Yeah, they didn't have a good time losing that one 92-70. So not great, but not that surprising when you see this team is 302nd in the nation in points per game. They're giving up more points than they score themselves on an average night, so that's not great. They're 300 and something in rebounding. So yeah, not a whole ton of positives. Last time they faced Wright State, they ended up losing by 8, and that was a home game for the Norse. So they've got a lot to turn around. I mean, in that loss, Wright State, played pretty well. Northern Kentucky, on the other hand, they did shoot 40% from 3 and shot 32 free throws, double the free throws, and we still saw Wright State get a convincing win. That's not a good look, guys. That is not a good look at all. Northern Kentucky got crushed on the board, so they're going to be looking to completely turn things around. I mean, Wright State comes into this game fresh off of an embarrassing loss there at Green Bay. Not a team you're supposed to be losing to. That was Green Bay's first win out there in the Horizon. So you hate to see that if you're a Wright State alumni. That is not a good one. I mean, they need guys like Brandon Noel to play better. Keaton Norris is having a decent season out there. This is almost a top 100 offensive team. The defensive numbers, not great. The rebounding numbers are okay. The last time these two teams met up, we saw, what did we see? Keaton Norris, 21 points. That's pretty good. Noel only 12, though, so not a very good night for him. They'll be hoping for better stuff there. And Wright State, guys, they come into this game only 3.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 146.5. Northern Kentucky, 2-10 against the spread on the road, 15-11 to the under. Wright State here in this huge bounce back spot are 6-4 against the spread at home. Guys, give me Wright State minus 3.5, and I'm slamming it on this one. This looks like a very, very good value. Looks like a pretty big mistake there from the odds makers. Even if there's some injury news that I'm not seeing about Wright State, they certainly should be in a position to get the comfortable win and cover in this one. This is going straight into the pinned comment, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, this one has a chance to be a premium pick over at Stump the Spread. Next up, guys, headed back to the MAAC, we've got Niagara going on the road to take on Siena. The Purple Eagles, guys, the Niagara Purple Eagles come into this game fresh off a tough 1-point loss there against Mount St. Mary's. They had a chance to knock off a team way above them in the conference standings, but couldn't quite get the job done there in the end. Over the course of the season, they've been a bit all over the place. I mean, a win over Quinnipiac is crazy, crazy work. A 76-75 win there at Quinnipiac. The last time, or wait, have they faced Siena yet this season? Maybe they have not faced Siena this season. Oh no, they did very early in the year. They ended up with a 1-point win, but that's so long ago, guys, we can barely even take that into consideration. This Purple Eagles team, not very good offensively. 337th in the nation, scoring only 68.6 points per game. They don't have a big-time leading scorer. I mean, against Mount St. Mary's, their lack of rebounding ability certainly was not helpful, guys. They got out-rebounded by 9 by Mount St. Mary's. That's not really supposed to be happening. I mean, Niagara, they shot 44% from 3 and still managed to find a way to lose this game. And you're not always going to shoot 11 of 25 from deep. So we'll see what they do on the road here against the Siena Saints, who are 12-14 on the season. They're also not having a particularly great time. You want to be in the video? Somebody couldn't stand to not be part of the action. Siena comes into this game fresh off of a nice road win there at SHU, but I'm not going to be overreacting too much. I mean, this team hasn't been great this season. They're around 300th in the nation in points per game. Their rebounding numbers, not great either. Justice Schultz is a legit leading scorer, and he's a pretty good point guard as well, but not necessarily in love with what we're seeing from this team. I mean, the last time we saw, Siena, I mean, that was so long ago. I'm not even going to look back at those stats, guys. Those are no longer relevant, but they've been playing some very close games, even against good teams like Marist and stuff like that. They also beat Quinnipiac, which is pretty impressive, but looking at their season-long numbers, I just don't know if I see it, guys. They're 376th in the nation in rebounds per game. Like, that's a bit of a concern. So, looking at the numbers here, guys. Siena, 6.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 138.5. Niagara, 4-8 against the spread on the road. 12-12 to the over-under. Siena, 7-4 against the spread at home. They are 16-9-1 to the over. So, First up, I think over 138.5, definitely live in this game, guys, but I'm going to be shading here a bit towards Niagara and the points. Despite this trend, I mean, this isn't a play that's going in the pinned comment, but I think this could be a pretty close game, between two teams that are actually still trying here at the end of the season, but I just don't have enough faith in either one to really give you the biggest lean here. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Canisius Golden Griffins going on the road here to take on the Marist Red Foxes. Yeah, Canisius has been the worst team in the MAAC this season. They're fresh off of, a 7th straight loss. They lost at Mount St. Mary's by, 7 points. So I guess a competitive game by their standards, but things have not been great in general. They've got a grumpy face on, kind of like this little dude, but yeah, it's been brutal. They do have a 20 points per game score in Paul McMillan the fourth, but that does not necessarily translate into success, guys. This team is ranked in the 400s offensively and the 500s in rebounding. Like, they're just a terrible team. They played Marist earlier this season. They got the doors blown off them. They lost that game 70-47. So this might be a nice get-right spot for the Marist Red Foxes, who have been up and down lately. They have won their last 2 in a row, so give them credit for that. But they're now, only 1 win back of Quinnipiac there in the MAAC standings. So this team putting things back together. Josh Pasquarelli is a monster, 16 points per game, shooting 47% from the field. Nothing wrong with that. However, Marist, not a team that plays with a ton of pace. They play a lot of close games. Their last 2 games were each 1-point wins. So can you count on always winning games that are that close? You absolutely cannot. So that's a big concern here, even going against a team like Canisius that they blew out earlier in the season, and not that much earlier, 3 weeks ago, something like that. But yeah, I'm a little bit worried about the Marist Red Foxes here. They're not a team that I have the utmost faith in, and they're 13.5-point favorites in this game. We got a total of 130.5. Canisius is only 4-9 against spread on the road. So obviously not a good road team, but we also see, they're 13-12 to the over, but Marist 4-7 against spread at home, 12-10-1 to the under. This is a rough one, guys. This is a pretty rough one. I'm honestly leaning towards Canisius. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm leaning towards the Golden Griffins and the points in this one. Getting 13.5 against a Marist team that just tends to play a lot of really close games. Now, is this game going anywhere near the pinned comment? You can tell by the look on my little man's face. He does not like this one. This game is not going to the pinned comment. We don't care about this one at all. Throw this one away. Don't make me bet on this game. I hate this game. Rolling right along here to look at one of the biggest matchups in the game. We got Baby Stump back in the bouncer, so he's chilling. He's hanging out right here. You might hear him some more, but yeah, there he is. There he is right there. So we've got Michigan State going on the road to take on Michigan. This is by far the biggest matchup of the night. Obviously a big rivalry spot. In-state rivals here. The Michigan State Spartans, 14th in the nation, 21-5 on the season. They're going to be the ones playing this game on the road. But they're playing well right now, guys. They're coming off a big win over Purdue, a convincing win. They won that game by 9 points. They also beat Illinois at Illinois handily the game before that. They won 3 out of their last 4. They are pretty much, showing that they are one of the best teams out there in the Big Ten, but right there with them is Michigan. So I can't say too much negative right now. This team making it work, despite not having a big superstar, leading scorer, but they don't need that, guys. They also don't need to shoot a ton of threes. They shot 58% from the field there against Purdue. Like, that is crazy, crazy work. They had 4 players scoring double figures. The bench produced a ton. Like, this Michigan State team is certainly dangerous, guys. I mean, they're 64th in the nation in points per game. They're a very good defensive team. They're a top 25 rebounding team. Like, the positives just keep rolling here for the Michigan State Spartans. So we'll see what they can do on the road here. This is going to be a tough road spot, no doubt about that. They're taking on the number 12 Michigan Wolverines, who are fresh off of their 6th straight win. They absolutely, have been getting by the skin of their teeth. Don't get me wrong. A 3-point win at Indiana. A 2-point win against Purdue, and then a 3-point win there at Ohio State. So obviously a huge win there for them to beat Ohio State in a game they did kind of control for the most part. But we've liked what we've seen from the Wolverines overall this season. I mean, they're 29th in the nation in scoring, 61st in rebounding. Like, those are all very, very reasonable numbers. But the defense concerns me occasionally. They did get blown out at Purdue. They're at home for this game, so that's at least something that's kind of helpful, but we'll see what they can get done in this specific matchup. I think it's going to be a tough game. It's obviously, a huge rivalry spot. Looking at the numbers, Michigan, 3.5-point favorites at home. We got a total of 152.5. Michigan State, 4-2-1 against the spread on the road, 17-9 to the under. Michigan, 6-6 against the spread at home, and 14-11 to the over. Unfortunately, guys, I can't give you a huge lean on this spot. I'm very excited to watch this game. I'm going to be taking Michigan State and the points on the road here, but that is a bit of a tough look. So let me go ahead, take care of this fussy baby, and we're going to be back to cover some more games. Okay, next up, guys, we're looking at Kent State going on the road to take on Miami of Ohio. Miami of Ohio burned us big time the other day, guys. That was a tough one. They came out so flat in that game and just could not get the job done. So we'll see what they can do here at home against the Kent State Golden Flashes, who are playing pretty well. They're 8-5 there in conference play. They are a couple games off the pace of teams like Miami of Ohio and Akron, but we'll see what they can get done in this one. They're coming off of a 7-point win there at Bowling Green. So a road win is a road win. Anytime you can get one, that's nice. The last time these two teams met, quite a while ago, they did take a 9-point loss there against Miami of Ohio, and that was a home game for Kent State. Now they're going on the road, so we'll see what they can do. They've been playing well. They've won their last 5 in a row, including a win at Eastern Michigan. But yeah, was that a legit win? We'll let the judges decide that one, because this Eastern Michigan team has been in trouble this year. But we'll see what goes on in this game, guys. I mean, the Golden Flashes, 252nd in the nation in points per game. Not a super tough rebounding team, but they can play some defense, and they've got a monster leading scorer there in Von Cameron Davis. 15.5 points per game, shooting 45% from the field. That doesn't really grow on trees. So we'll see what they can do here against Miami of Ohio. I mean, the Redhawks come into this game 19-7 on the season. Losers of 2 in a row, though, and they're 2 tough road games. I mean, Western Michigan, that's not so tough, but then getting blown out by Eastern Michigan, that is not a good look. So we'll see what they can do here. They're back at home. They're taking on a decent team in Kent State, so it's time for them to make something of a statement. This team has been dominant offensively this season. 40th in the nation, 80.8 points per game. Very, very good stuff. The defense, not so great. The rebounding, real bad. Not good at all, but they can score the ball, and often that will be enough. So we'll see what they can do here at home. I mean, the last time these two teams met, albeit it was a while ago, the Redhawks won despite shooting 33% from 3. They did have, the tiniest of edges there, in terms of free throw shooting. But yeah, just, they dominated the glass here against Kent State, which isn't something you're used to seeing Miami of Ohio do. We saw Kent State really struggle shooting the ball, and now they got to go on the road here. So we'll see, guys. I mean, Miami of Ohio, 1.5-point favorites at home. We've got a total of 143.5. Kent State, though, they're a good road team. They're 7-2-1 against the spread on the road, 15-9 to the under. Miami of Ohio, 6-4-1 against the spread at home, 15-9 to the over. I'm going to be going with Miami of Ohio again in this one. Maybe I get burnt. This has a chance to go in the pinned comment. If you guys want to leave this one out, I don't blame you based on what they did to us the last time. But they have to be in desperation mode to get a win here. They are back at home. They're facing a team they've already beaten once this season. I think they can shoot the ball well on their home rims. I like Miami of Ohio at home in this one. I think it's a very reasonable spot. Now, guys, switching gears, we're going to hop over and look at 2 of the biggest NBA games on the night. They just happen to be the 2 nationally televised games. That's not why they were chosen. They're just 2 of my favorite ones to look at. And first up, we've got the New York Knicks going on the road to take on the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Knicks come into this game fresh off of a crazy overtime win against the Chicago Bulls. That was a home game for the Knicks, so now they have to go from New York to Cleveland. Obviously not the craziest flight or anything like that, but still playing an overtime game and then having to travel is a little bit brutal. Obviously, you're not supposed to be playing an overtime game against the Bulls, and we saw some crazy minutes numbers. I mean, Precious Achiuwa, 46 minutes, Bridges, 44, Towns, 43, Miles McBride, 42. So definitely not the easiest night out there. Not the easiest night at all. So we'll see what we get from in this one. Obviously, we've got, we'll take a look at the injury report as well, obviously, as we always do. But yeah, the Knicks shot 30% from 3, not great. They did an okay job on the boards, but not great. And yeah, you're giving up a ton to a team like the Bulls. Like, that's not a good look, guys. The Bulls shot 40% from 3, nothing that crazy. They shot, not a ton of free throws shot in this game in general. So a little bit worried about the Knicks coming off of that game. Not the best look. And their injury report, we did see, OG Anunoby, he's on there. Josh Hart is on there as well. OG, guys, did not play in that game against the Bulls, so we'll see him out there for sure in this one. I would maybe not for sure, but likely for this one. And we also saw Josh Hart sit that game out. So they're going to have some guys that are, ready to go, but not everybody, guys. Like Cat, how ready is he going to go after playing that many minutes? So we'll see here. We'll see. I'm worried. I'm concerned here about the New York Knicks as they go on the road to take on one of the best teams in the NBA, who also played last night, guys. We saw the Cavaliers knock off the Brooklyn Nets. They were at the Nets, so basically already in New York. Now they also have to fly to Cleveland for this game. So, I guess even terms, in the travel situation, but not even terms in terms of, how high of effort their last game was, because they won 110-97 in regulation. We saw Mobley play 30 minutes, Jarrett Allen played 25, Garland 29, Mitchell 30, Strus 24. So very, very light minutes loads. And Cleveland won this game comfortably despite shooting only 28.2% from three. They did a great job on the boards. They did some very, very good stuff to win this game easily without having to exert maximum effort. And that is extremely helpful here when you're playing on the front half of a back-to-back, especially when you're about to take on a very, very good team. Over the course of the season, Cleveland's obviously been excellent. They had a very busy All-Star break. They came back and they played well, and they've got a chance to show that they're really playing well because they are 6.5-point favorites at home in this one. We've got a total of 241.5. That line may be on the move, guys, so be checking on that. It could be on the move with New York coming off an overtime game, but I like the Cavaliers here at anything under 10 points. I like them comfortably at anything under 10 points. I'm not too worried about that over-under, despite teams both being over teams, but the Knicks 13-12 against spread on the road, 2-6 against spread on no rest. They're 15-9-1 to the over on the road. Cleveland 19-10 against the spread at home, 6-5 against the spread on no rest this season. They're 18-11 to the over at home. So if you wanted to take over 241.5, I guess you could. I'm not going to do that with two tired teams though. I'm definitely taking the Cavaliers to get the win and cover in this spot. I think they're in very good shape here. They're, a great team. They match up well against the Knicks. I think this is an easy win for them. Last but not least, guys, we're looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves going on the road to take on the Houston Rockets. The Timberwolves come into this game 31-25 on the season. We'll see how things go for them the rest of the way. They did go into the All-Star break fresh off of a 116-101 win against the Thunder. So that was a good look, but it was not the full-strength Thunder, and they weren't super locked in, and so on and so forth. So we'll see what they can do. Nobody, Ant didn't go particularly nuts at the All-Star festivities or anything like that. So we'll see what Minnesota has in store here. They come into this game looking, like they should be fully healthy, I would assume. I mean, guys like Mike Conley, Julius Randle obviously being out has been, I would say, a blessing in disguise for this team, but we'll see. He's been, cleared for 5-on-5 activity, but he's going to be out for the time being. I don't think that hurts them at all. It maybe even helps them. Anthony Edwards, technically questionable for this game with his hip issue. I fully expect him to play. Rudy Gobert with his back issue, he's questionable. I fully expect him to play as well. Mike Conley with his finger issue, I could see him theoretically missing this game, but that doesn't move the needle for me too much either way. So we'll see what the Timberwolves can do on the road here against the Houston Rockets. They went into the All-Star break on kind of a low note on that loss against the Warriors, but they've had a great season, 34-21 on the year. They've been waiting to get healthy as they need Fred VanVleet to come back for them to be at full strength. Unfortunately for them, guys, we don't really know. Oh, no, we do know. Fred VanVleet confirmed out for this game with that continued ankle issue. So even after the All-Star break, he is not ready to go. So we're going to see the ball in Amen Thompson, Jalen Green's hands a lot more. That can be a good thing. That can also be a bad team. Amen Thompson, an absolute monster, one of the brightest future stars in the league, but he is a young player, a very young player, and he can make some of those mistakes that go along with youth. Having Sengun back is obviously nice. Having Steven Adams to bring some size is good. They've got a solid bench as well. So this Rockets team is no joke, and that's why they're still, despite the absence of Fred VanVleet, 3.5-point favorites at home in this game. We've got a total of 215.5. Minnesota, a good road team, though, shockingly enough. They are 15-12 against the spread on the road. They're 14-13 against spread on the road. Houston, 12-14 against the spread at home. 14-11-1 to the under at home. Guys, I think the Timberwolves are actually a scary team here in the second half of the season. I think we're going to see Anthony Edwards very locked in. I know the Rockets have a lot of good pieces, but they can really go cold on offense. And offense looks disjointed a lot of the time. And a lot of the time, the ball just end up in Jalen Green or Amen Thompson's hands at the very end of the shot clock, and they're just like, go do something. I do think Sengun poses some problems there for Rudy Gobert, but he should be able to slow him down enough that I think things are going to be fine here for the Timberwolves. Give me Minnesota on the road, getting 3.5 points in this game. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets. Help us get to 1,000 likes on this video so we give away another hoodie. Subscribe to the channel so we get to 50,000 subscribers so we get to give away another hoodie. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Make sure if you were the channel member that just won the giveaway today to also get down in the comments. And guys, thank you for watching. Click the link in the description and get over to stumpthespread.com. Get on that free email list. We're maybe giving out 70-1 golf winners on that list, and we've been giving out winning college basketball picks all the time on there. So we'll see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.